Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Adams Brothers Podcast family. Welcome back to the Adams Brothers Podcast pop-up podcast here on Thursday. This is September the 21st, 2023 at 6 p.m. Well, I know we're a little bit late, but we are here. Better late than never. Come on in the room. Come on and join us. We are going to chop it up today. We're going to have some open lines where you could call in, elevate the dialogue, get in on the conversation. We'd love to hear your opinions. Please do not use any profanity or the N-word on our show, because I promise you we will cut you off. Okay? Those are the rules. Be polite, be courteous. You call in, because there's nothing to hit one button and cut you off. Okay? Welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. We are live streaming on Facebook right now, Adams Brothers Podcast, and our Adams Brothers Podcast family. Thank you for joining us. We're going to wait for some more people to come into the room while you're bobbing your head. Hey, you, don't you know it's the Adams Brothers Podcast show. Yeah, we're here. Come on in the room. We see one person, two people, three people, four people, five people, six people. We're going to wait for you to come on in the room. Like, share, and tag someone that you would like to get in on the conversation. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We're waiting. Come on in the room. We're here. Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right. Well, I see a few more people has joined into the room. Thank you all for joining us here this evening. Waiting on my brother to come take his seat. Oh, there he is right there. So, I'm going to lower the intro music just a little bit. Got some interesting topics we're going to be discussing this evening. So, well, Wayne, let me let you go ahead and tell them what the topics are. I know you have them over there. So go ahead and announce the topics that we're going to be discussing this evening.
Yes. Good evening. We're going to be discussing on here today. We got a few topics of interest. You know, everything is not about politics all the time. We got other subjects that we like to talk about. We're going to be talking about last week's broadcast with the family in Memphis, Tennessee, that was concerning the food at the repast. We want to hear your thoughts about what you heard and what you saw from the live. And also going to be talking about Sexy Redd and Sukihana. They're two rising stars in the rap game or the hip hop game. And we just want to know, what do you think about them? What do they represent for Black society? Are they good? Are they bad? I mean, we want to hear everyone's thoughts. And we're also going to be talking about Coach Prime and Colorado. And a lot of the hate that we saw recently on TV, we want to know, is that hate, envy, jealousy, or is it deeply rooted in racism? And then the fourth issue that you can talk about is, our churches under attack? And if you agree, we would like to know by who and why and what entity. And if you disagree, we would like to hear your thoughts on why you disagree. And the call-in number again is 954-480-3209. Call-in number again is 954-480-3209. You can talk about any of these subjects. We're going to be talking about it. Like I say, we just don't talk politics on here. We talk to different people. We strive to bring more Black businesses on to highlight their business. So if you have a business, come on. I mean, we would love to have you on.
Yeah, we'll shout you out on the podcast. Yeah. We're all about promoting Black businesses on our podcast.
Definitely.
So
last week
we're here.
Last week broadcast, we had family. We had Miss Sheila Patton on, and her aunt had died. Her aunt had been in the church for a long time. And we had Miss Patton and family members on, and it was a lot of emotions that was running high. Again, we like to hear about your thoughts of what you heard and your thoughts on that situation with the food. How did you feel about it? How did you feel? How did you feel about the food that we saw on the plate that has went viral? And, I know the family was hurt last week about the picture. I took the picture down. I took it down on all our platforms.
I think that was the main problem, the picture circulating around the internet. And we did get a chance to speak to the granddaughter. She called in, right? She didn't call in on the air. She called in after we got off of the air. And I got to tell you, she was very straightforward and emotional. She said every time that she go on social media or log on some site, there's her grandmother's obituary floating around the internet. And, once you post stuff on the internet, it doesn't go away. It's there forever. So she called in and she told us how she felt, and you could just hear it in her voice that she was not happy with the obituary being circulated around the internet. And hopefully that family up in the Memphis, Tennessee area, hopefully they got some sort of a apology, or they got a call from someone to try and make it better. We don't know all of the facts. We only know what we were told last week. And hopefully they will get someone will make it up to them in the future. And it's been a hot topic about tithing. It's a touchy subject no one really wants to talk about, but it keeps on coming up. Just keeps on coming up. People are always calling us on it, man, and we try to shy away from it sometimes, but they just keep talking about it, and we're here, we're podcasters. We like to hear from the community. We don't censor anyone here on this podcast. And again, we ask, when people call in, we ask that you don't use the N word. You all know what the N word is. Don't use profanity, on our show, because we'll cut you off. And we like to, we like to hear the opinions of people not only in Deerfield Beach, Broward County, South Florida, Central Florida, wherever it may be. We like to hear the comments, that people, we like to hear people's opinions. And that's just what it is, an opinion. That doesn't mean that, what they're saying is true. And, that's just the truth, because the truth be told, I mean, everybody, and let's talk a little bit about the Bible. I have started my journey of reading the Bible. I started a couple of times reading the Bible for myself, but I never finished. And like I said last week and the week before that I am taking that responsibility on myself. I'm holding myself accountable for not doing that. All of my life, I've jumped from scripture to scripture and read the Bible, when I go to church, from a little boy on up to now, I would go home and read the scripture. And my grandmother would always tell us, Ira Adams would always tell us to, and Beulah Moore, to read, Psalms, the 23rd Psalm, and we would do that. So I've been pretty much one of those ones that jump around the Bible and not read the Bible for myself. Hey, Tyrone. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Dolores. Thank you for joining us. So I've been one of those people that go to church that jumped all around the Bible and never really took the time out of my life to read the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelation like I should. I am now doing that. I can read that whole Bible in a month. But when you start reading the Bible, you have to understand what you're reading. You just can't say, oh, I read it. But you have to read and understand and comprehend and study it as you go along. So I've been taking notes. I've been highlighting. I don't know the Bible, like some who've been preaching the Bible for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years or whatever. But I promise you, I will get my understanding of it. So all my life, I've been listening to people and pastors all my life interpret the Bible to me. I was taught as a little boy. My whole family, we went to church. You go to church and you listen to that pastor. And you go take that word and you apply it to your life. And it'll help keep you out of the chain gang. I can hear my Uncle Casey guiding. And my grandmother, Ira, my parents, Bernard and Josephine Adams. All of us went to church with my grandfather, Bob Morris, Buster Adams, as a little boy. And we were always taught to listen to the pastor, and that will help us, live right and to grow up to be men that grew up in the church. And, when you have your parents in your household, you learn, it's a different, you grow up to be a different child. You grow up to be a different man, I grew up with my parents in my household, my brother, all of us. It was 7 of us. Still together, my parents they probably watching us right now. No, probably, I know they are. They're watching us right now. So I said all of that to say this. I've been reading the Bible and getting my own understanding of it, because I can read the Bible and my brother could read the Bible. And we can sit here and say, well, I read, Genesis, when I know that Noah was a God-fearing man and he obeyed God. And somebody else might say, well, it wasn't all of this. It's always somebody going to come and, challenge you on what you read in the Bible. The Bible can be interpreted so many ways. And tithing has been one of those. And, all we hear is, that the pastor's famous quotes is Malachi 3, and that's what they beat you up with and this and that. And me, I'm a tither. I pay my tithes. I pay my tithes every week, and I'm sure my brother do too, faithfully. So I'm not against tithing. because I was always raised to tithe. But there are some people who just flat out don't believe that you should tithe. And just because those people believe that you shouldn't tithe, should we not listen to them and hear their point of view? All we're trying to do is just get different opinions and see why this person or he or she isn't tithing, and kind of hear what their interpretation of the Bible is. And they could quote you different scriptures out of the Bible, that, says that, tithing was, livestock and crops. Nobody got paid in the Bible, this and that, it's all kind of things about that people can debate. So we want to hear from you all. What do you think? We did a podcast on Why the Church is Empty. Tithing came up, church mess came up. The pastor preaching at the congregation came up. The usher has the nasty attitude. People are still the same. The church looks the same. It hasn't been fixed up. Everything. We give our money to the church and, nothing has changed and this and that. We continue to hear it all. And I'm sure the pastors hear the same thing. And we're trying to get answers to these questions and help these pastors and hopefully get people back to church. Church isn't a bad thing. No one says church is a bad thing. And we here on the Adams Brothers podcast, we will never, ever attack any church, because I know for a fact there are tons and tons and tons of good pastors out there that are doing the right thing and preaching the word of God and saving souls. I know that. Nobody don't have to tell me that. I see it. But then there's always a few that's not, that do the wrong thing, and then they kind of turn some people away from the church. And they stray away from the church, and they don't go back to church, and they don't tithe, and they don't do this, and they don't do that. So we're trying to talk about the uncomfortable conversation here today, and we like to hear from you. And Wayne, what do you have to say about this?
I just like to hear the viewers. I like to hear what the people have to say. I don't know why it's an uncomfortable conversation,
but it is. It's an uncomfortable conversation that a lot of people don't like to have. And again, some people will say, when I give my money to the church, I don't care where it goes from here. But then you have some people that I know, and my brother is one of them. I'm telling you all right now, he keep track of every penny, and he can tell you how much is in his bank account, how much he takes screenshots. He could tell you everything, how much his cell phone bill is. If it go up 5 cents, he gonna notice. So there are some people out there that keep track of every little thing. Not some people, there are a lot of people. And I know some people say, hey, when you give your money, don't worry about where it goes. But that's just not how some people live their lives, okay? That's just what it is. You can't tell people how not to track their money and how to track their money. So again, there's people do different things. God made us all different. He didn't make us all the same. He didn't make us all the same weight. He didn't make us all the same height. He didn't make us all the same color. He made us all different for a reason. And when we disagree, that doesn't mean that, you're attacking someone or whatever. So again, we like to hear from you all. What are your opinions about anything about the church? What can we change? We don't have any guests here today. We're going to have another final podcast on, how can we solutions. It's going to be based on mostly solutions to getting people back to church. Okay. So what are your thoughts?
And like we said, I don't know why it's an uncomfortable conversation. I mean, when I go to church, I expect sometimes to hear some things that might make me feel, hey, I'm there to hear the word. I'm there to hear the truth. So sometimes if people are out speaking the truth about their opinion about the church. That's not attacking the church, and that's, to me, that's not the church being under attack. The church has been around for a long time. People have been going to church for a long time. It's like the old episode of Good Times when Michael bought.
I believe someone's calling in, and I'm not sure who this is. Let's see if we can bring someone in here. Okay, we got somebody calling in right now. Hello, caller, and welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast. Can you hear me, caller?
Hello. Yes, hello. How are you guys today?
Doing good.
Good. Who are we speaking with?
And where are you calling from?
My name is Dolores, and I'm calling from Savannah, Georgia. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey, Dolores. How are you? All the way from Savannah, Georgia. How are you, Dolores?
I am well, and I pray that you guys are well also.
Great. We're doing good. You want to say something? You have a comment you'd like to make?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment about tithing, and it's going to kind of like drift to a couple other things.
Go ahead.
You got the floor.
Well, we're all ears.
Okay, guys. And you know, I tithe, I do. And I even during pandemic, I did my little send by situation. I would send my tithes in because I feel however the money is distributed through the church, wherever it's needed, it should go there. Now, if it doesn't reach where it should go, that's not on me.
Right.
So that's how I feel about that. And also I see that people tithe, and some people want the receipts and all this business, keeping up with it. I understand keeping up with your finances and all that. But my thing is, I'm giving, I know what I'm giving each month.
Excuse me.
However I should do it.
You're getting a feedback
Dolores,
in the background.
Can you turn your volume down on your device? We're getting a little feedback. If you could just turn that down for us, turn it all the way down for us, please.
Well, maybe you have something going, listening to yourself. We can hear it. It's loud.
No, actually, I don't have any other thing going on.
Okay. We can hear you.
All right,
good
we can
now.
hear. It's better now. Go ahead. But
Whatever
go ahead with your thought.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, you know, and also, and I know the envelopes when you come inside the church, they're passing out the envelope for the parent church that's coming inside, and you're filling out your envelopes, and some people get a stack of them to carry home with them. Okay, but what I'd like to know too is you guys, I'd like to know your opinion on, do you think it's really necessary to fill out your name, address, and all this business here when you're keeping up with this information yourself?
Well, I think the reason why they have you put your name and your address, and this is me, and I'm pretty sure this is the reason why, because they, at the end of the year, they keep a running total of what you give to the church. And at the end of the year, I know the church that I attend, they will give you the full amount that you donated to the church, and they'll give it to you on a tax exempt form where you could, file that on your taxes. I know that that's one of the reasons, Dolores, that why they have you put your name and your address on there. And if you got it like that, if you don't, if you put your name on there, you don't need the tax write-off, then that's understandable too. But most people who give them money, would like to, they need to give to a nonprofit profit organizations for tax purposes or whatever. So I do know that that's one of the reasons why they do it.
Okay.
That's what I would think
that
too, Dolores. I would think that's the reason why they do it too. It would be for tax purposes.
Right.
Oh, okay. And I heard someone say, I don't know which of the brothers said it, that if you have it like that, most people, I don't know people's circumstances or what have you. But it's one thing that if I'm giving it, and also when you have your benevolence.
Right.
Now that's just giving, right?
Right.
And to make certain that these funds are placed where they should place, and you have these different committees, because I'm not the power hitter in church. That's not me.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that these funds, they're distributed to wherever they're distributed to and for.
Right.
And yet sometimes the speaker would get up and ask for monies for different reasons. But however, after going there year after year after year, you don't see that improvement.
And right, and that's I think that's some of the things that we hear, and we had some people comment last week when we were live that some people, they say that they give their tithes and their offering, but yet nothing, the church is being fixed around the church, and because the church has other obligations.
And that's what most churches don't want to hear.
And that's what
that's why they push back and I guess call that attacking the church, or, because you have a, you want to see, if you pay something, you want to see where your money is going. And if you're paying money in church, you want to see paint on the church. You want to see different things done to the church, the seats. You want to see things, you want to see where your money is going. And like we said earlier, unfortunately, I think some pastors don't want to hear that. So I guess they call that attacking the church, or anytime you question anything about the church, it's going to be looked at by some people in a negative light.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but if you're that individual that's paying tithe, benevolence, doorknob fund, whatever it may be, and then you're constantly seeing that there's not an improvement, I wouldn't think that that's an attack. It's actually that, what is going on? Just like you hand out the end of the year,
right?
Those tax things from your tithe,
right?
Just some of the same conversation. Okay, we didn't get the doorknob fixed because we fell short X amount of dollars.
Right. And I think that's what people generally want. They just want to know. Some people would like to know just where the funds are going, and I think they would be more comfortable if they knew with giving.
Yeah.
And I mean that's my opinion. That's my opinion, mm-hmm. And we've seen people say that on our podcast when we had the podcast on why the church is empty, and people mm-hmm. were saying that they want transparency. They like to see where the money is going, because they been going to the same church for so many years, but the church looks the same. The parking lot is the same. The building hasn't changed. Nothing has been,
right.
The church looks the same, in other words, and, mm-hmm. and you have a lot of people that tithe faithfully, and they come in and they bring their tithes. If they have 2 nickels, they're going to give the church 1. So,
exactly.
So, I mean, you have people that tithe faithfully, and at some point, these people are going to want to see where their money is going.
And the pastors made great points about when transparency was brought up on the podcast when we had the guest.
Right.
I mean, they made great points about transparency, but I think still if everyone sees some type of improvement, then I don't think you will be questioning like some are doing. And we live in a time now of in this digital age where all before 40 years ago, 30 years ago, these discussions probably would have just only been in the back room of the church or outside the church. Now we have social media, and these conversations are going on, and that's what people want to hear. And I mean, these are great conversations to have. I don't look at conversations about something that is perceived negative about the church as the church being attacked or anything. To me, as our podcast say, and it's engaging conversation. That's what I see it as.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
guys, do you remember back in the day when you used to go to church and they'd put up what the money they took up for the day was, and make that announcement? Did you guys have that in your area?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Remember that? I mean, what happened to these type things?
Well, these are some of the things that people question right now today. Mm-hmm. I remember that because we grew up in First Zion Missionary Baptist Church. It was literally one block over from where we grew up as children. And I can remember them, taking the tithes of our mother and father, and grandmother, they would all come over and hand us money. Maybe $1.50, and you put this in the offering tray. And when you go around the table, you better put this on the table. And sometimes I gotta admit, I didn't do it. I went to the little storehouse there on the corner there, and I got me some cookies, some windmill cookies and coconut cookies.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I did that, but I remember at the end, they say, we like to thank you all for X amount of dollars. We had this, and everybody would say amen. They would do that every week.
And that was transparency.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the transparency that people are, these days are looking for. There's been some pastors that, didn't do the right thing. And, you see them with these big, nice houses and cars and boats and little jets. And the people who are bringing that money to the church, they don't know, living right at the poverty line, So barely making it. So these are the things that we have been hearing. And again, this is not attacking the church. I talk to pastors all the time, from South Florida to Savannah, Georgia, to wherever we go. We visit churches, and it's a topic that comes up all the time. And we like to. I mean, these days, you just when you go to church at your church in Savannah, Dolores, is your church packed right now?
Yes, people are coming. It's not packed. But we do have a sizable amount of people that's coming out on Sundays, and even in Bible study, they're beginning to come back.
Right, and that's good. That's good. I mean, you're able, and then we know COVID it was hard on every church, every business. COVID just did.
How has your church been, Mr. Lewis, after? Not after COVID, because COVID is still here. How has it been since the pandemic came about in the year 2020? How has your church fared as far as attendance?
Yeah, we are bouncing back. People are now coming back in.
That's good.
People are now coming back in, be it our Bible studies, which is Wednesday, 6 p.m. They're coming in.
And what are your church doing to get these people back?
And how many members actually do you have? Pre-pandemic, how many members did you have in your church coming to church? I can't give you that total count, because I am this individual. I know it's a sizable church.
Right.
We're not mega, but it's a sizable church.
Right.
How many people bodies did you have in there pre-pandemic and post-pandemic?
Approximately.
Approximately.
Maybe what, 50, 100, 150?
Post-pandemic or?
Pre-pandemic first, and then post-pandemic.
Pre and post.
Yes, both.
Okay. Post-pandemic, we had about maybe a couple thousand people.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And post-pandemic?
And post-pandemic, that's what we had.
Post. Okay. So if you had a few thousand people post, I can just imagine how many you had. Oh, okay. Before. Okay. Wow.
Now, during, like now we might have in there like maybe 1,500 people are coming back. They're bouncing back.
Is this every Sunday?
Well, I'm not there every Sunday. The Sunday.
Well.
The Sundays,
right.
Yeah, the Sundays that I attend. Yeah.
Right. And when you don't attend, do you watch it online? Do you watch it online from home or wherever you are in this country?
I do.
All right.
I do. But it doesn't show the entire church. You're pretty much getting the choir, the pastor, a few people up front or what have you.
Right.
But you're not seeing the entire.
Do you think that social media is needed, like for people who are the sick and shut in that can't make it to church? Do you think keeping the live stream church going on Sundays, is that a good thing?
Yes, it is. Right. It is. And I'm gonna tell you too, a lot of the younger people, everybody, the younger people are more tech savvy than my age group, I would say. And these kids, they're on social media, they're watching church, they like the singing, then they like the word, how the word is being delivered.
Right.
It touches everyone, because it may be spoken on this level and it's just broken on down. But I'm the person that I follow. I read and
Right. Do you
like to follow along?
Do you take notes and go back, and when you're in church, do you take notes and go back and read the scripture for yourself when you get home?
I do. I do. Reason being, sometimes I don't want to miss. And I want to, when we do the cross reference and all this, I want to go back and make certain that I have a clear understanding of that.
Right. And that's
because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can't say that no worries. I can't say that I understand each and everything that's being said at that time, because I could be affixed still on this passage that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're over and another book of the Bible.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, okay, I need to get back now. I need to do a follow-up.
Right.
That type thing I do.
Okay.
I take notes. Okay. And I'm the person that actually take the Bible to church. I don't take my iPad, my iPhone, and all this business. I take the Bible so I can just, follow like that, because sometimes I don't think we need to get totally away from tradition. Okay. I'm just that person. Right. That's what I feel. Okay. Mm-hmm. And another thing I like to go ahead.
Go ahead. No, we're listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anybody, if you get another call, just cut me off and I'll call back at a later date. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying too is, now there again, you know how you have the different people in church that hold different titles. You have your deacons, your deaconess, you have your pastor, your musician, music person, and all these different people, right? Uh-huh. And my thing is, why does each and every one of these people need a parking space?
I never heard of that before.
Yeah, I mean, I know the pastor usually has his own parking space up front, and maybe sometimes they have what do they call it? Not the employee of the month, but the
mother of the church or something of that nature.
They have a parking spot for different people at some of the churches, but I this is my first time really hearing that. Everybody got their parking spots.
I never heard of that before.
What is it? Something of the musician something has a parking. Right. The pastor has a parking. Okay, granted, the pastor has a parking. Right. Okay, the pastor's wife has a parking. Uh-huh. Minister of music, that's what I was trying to think of. Minister of music has a parking. Right. I mean, I think that's just a little too much going on.
Right. Well, they don't have that at our church. With the pastor, mm-hmm. I don't even think the pastor, he just parks it everywhere, wherever. So we all just, yeah.
But whoever is listening out there, somebody should chime in on that, because I know I'm not the only person that has seen that.
Right. Right.
And also another thing, mm-hmm. Why is there a female deacon?
I don't know. Maybe if someone's out there listening,
maybe someone can help us out. I see a couple
of pastors in the chat.
Someone help us out.
I can't answer that question there, but
why is there a female deacon? Someone help us out here.
Right.
Help us out with that one.
Okay.
Help me out with that one, because I can't understand that. Right. And I come from that old tradition, Pentecostal, actually.
Right. Would you like to shout your church out before we let you go?
I better not do that.
Okay.
I think I'm kicking up a whole lot of dust on this end.
Hey, but these are this is what we're saying. These are the type of calls that we get. These are the type of people that we run into. The people, I mean, you're calling from Savannah, Georgia. I mean, these are people, that have concerns and they have questions, and we listen and we try to bring these topics to our viewers, and then that's our job.
No worries. There. I'll give a shout out before I release the line.
Yeah, we don't want to get called a sexist or a misogynist for asking that question about that. Why is there?
No, it's just understanding, because right. There again, I have been in this church. I moved back to Savannah in like 90 something, right. But I joined this church since like 95, 94, around right. there. And
uh-huh.
just here recently that I've noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard that brought up before.
Right. We'll have to keep an eye out for that.
We'll try to just listen. We'll try to just listen on to the podcast.
Yeah, keep on listening. Maybe someone will have an answer.
Get you the answer to that. We want to get on.
Yeah. Okay.
And one more thing, then I'm gone.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. Then too, I know you have the mother of the church, of course. I know she need to have a particular spot, because generally that's the elderliest person in the church.
Right.
The oldest person that's there. Of course, she needs to have a spot someplace that she's comfortable with,
Right, right.
But Now, when it comes to the deaconesses, and I have a problem with, I'm going to say a problem with everybody just clustered right here together. Now, we're saving souls. We need to be in the midst of people because you have some people there that don't have the full understanding.
Right.
I shouldn't say full understanding, but need a better understanding of the word. And you can kind of nudge them. People show up and not Bibles all throughout the church. You can kind of like let them share with you, look on. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you have everyone sitting here in this one cluster, everybody's here in this one cluster, as opposed to, positioning yourself like the CIA or something that's kind of like mixed up in there, like People Watch the President, kind of mixed up in there like that, and just help people out, that kind of thing. But anyway, guys, I just have to voice that. And my church is the Temple of Glory, Savannah, Georgia.
Temple of Glory in Savannah,
hopefully
Georgia.
You don't get in no trouble for asking that question.
I don't think she will, but this is just conversation right here. We're just having engaging conversation.
We're just having conversation. We're just sharing, that's all.
Well, you know how when church people fall out with you, they'll fall out with you, boy, and be mad with you forever.
Well, Dolores.
That's okay. They can't block me getting into the kingdom.
There you go. Right. There you go. Thank you, Dolores, for calling. We appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
We have another call coming in here.
We're going to be talking about Sexy Redd, Sukihana. What do they represent for Black society? Coach Prime and Colorado. Those some of the topics.
Hello, caller, and welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, this is Musa. What's up, my brother?
Hey,
Musa from 2 weeks ago?
From last week?
Yeah, the last episode. Yes,
okay, man. We had a lot of calls about you the last time you were on the podcast. So
everyone was asking about you, man. Everyone was like, who is this Musa Mesa? And they just been asking about you. They said that you made them think a lot. I'm quite sure a lot of pastors took issue to what you said, but hey, you stood 10 toes down on what you said, and just keep on.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We're speaking the word of God here. The word of God here.
So what would you like to talk about there, Mr. Musa?
Yeah, I seen that y'all, still talking about the situation and the churches. Y'all like to see paint on the buildings, the roads fixed at the parking lot, this and that.
Right.
The thing is this, man, and I kind of people saying, I'm hearing y'all keep referring to the churches being attacked. What's going on with that? Like, I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
What pastors feel like that church is being attacked off what I'm saying, or what?
I think, and I don't really want to, I can't, I just heard in a sermon that the church was being attacked, not even in a sermon, and so it made me think maybe this was something that we can ask the viewers about. I don't know. Is the church you go to being attacked, or is the church as a foundation across the world of the United States, is it being attacked, and why? And if you agree or disagree, I don't see. I think you're going to have the religious people come to church, and I think you're going to have the non-religious people come to church. And just because you're having conversation, I think that makes some people uncomfortable. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think the conversation alone about the whole tithing situation and the transparency of where the money is going, I think that ruffles a lot of pastors' feathers, or a lot of church organization feathers, because, if the people wake up and read the Bible for themselves and understand the word and understand the true meaning of tithing, or what it was when it was ordained, and it's no longer ordained anymore, that's hurting the church business, and that's hurting the church fund. So I understand why they would feel attacked, and it's okay, because God is here to guide His sheep. You know what I mean? And if I can help assist that, if God can use me and use my voice to assist that, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm always going to preach from the word of God and from the book. This is not my understanding, because the Bible tells us not to lean on to our own understanding. This is God's word. So I'm here to say the tithing thing is done away with. and you don't tithe anymore.
Why do you say that we don't tithe anymore? Explain to the viewers why you say tithing was done away with.
Okay, so God picked a nation of people way back then because God wanted to pick a nation of special people that he wanted to choose. And it was a small nation. It was the children of Israel. And this nation consisted of 12 tribes. Out of the 12 tribes, he ordained the Leviticus high priest tribe their inheritance. And their inheritance wasn't any land, any building, nothing. Their inheritance was God. While the other 11 tribes, their inheritance, they had land that they can go live in and go farm and go do everything. The Leviticus high priest didn't have any land. So what God did said, look, the Leviticus high priest works for me, and I'm their inheritance. So I want you other 11 tribes, y'all got y'all land, you know? Right. So what I want you guys to do is the first 10% of y'all crop, I want y'all to bring that to the storehouse because being that the Leviticus high priests don't have a land and they're not allowed to farm and they're not allowed to work. They only work for me, and that's to stand fast and stand over the tabernacle and control the ordinance of the tabernacle. Right. So I need the other 11 tribes to bring their crops to the storehouse so when they get hungry and they need things that they're provided for by my word, what I commanded the other 11 tribes to do. Okay? So that was tithing back then. Right. But being that the children of Israel disobeyed God and the new and old covenant, and we lost our old covenant from him. He had to divorce us. What ended up happening is the Leviticus priests, they lost their priesthood. So when they lost their priesthood, and the other 11 tribes lost their positions as well, right? That's when tithing was done because the he only created tithing to take care of the Leviticus high priest, okay? And that's in Numbers chapter 18. That's in Nehemiah chapter 10. That's in Hebrews chapter 7. So let's keep it there. Now in the New Testament, which people call New Testament, New Covenant, that's when God said, "Look, I can't allow y'all to. I'm gonna make a new covenant with y'all because I hear y'all crying out that these other nations are destroying y'all and mistreating y'all. I'm willing to take y'all back, but y'all got to keep my covenant this time. But we know God is. He said His word don't come back to Him without void. So blood got to be spilled in order for Him to make a new covenant. Okay, so that's when Jesus Christ came down and they came into the human flesh, and He was the Lamb without blemish, which is the Lamb without sin. And when he died on the cross and shedded his blood, that allowed us to enter a new covenant with God now. Right. You understand? Right. And being that we don't sacrifice animals no more. In the Old Testament, we sacrifice animals. Every time we sin, we sacrifice animals to atone for our sins. Now that Jesus died, we just ask Jesus for forgiveness and we work our way through Jesus to get to God. Right. So all that tithing is done. It's over with. Right. It never came back. And you can read the book from front to back, and it will show you that. It will tell you that. So these pastors, they want to keep this tithing up because they need the money. They need the check. You know, my father and them people go to AME church, and they have to pay the presiding elders, the bishop, and all these people every month. And these people are higher up. You don't see their face. You don't see nothing. But they got these churches in each district got to pay these people. And that's why they hearken on to the people and press the people to pay this, come out. Oh, we need a huge blessing this Sunday. Please put 300 or 400. They press that because they have people to pay. They got to pay their bosses, and then they got to put money in their pocket. And that's why sometimes you don't even see these churches getting a new roof or getting a new parking lot because they so busy paying other people. And what people got to really understand, we got to break free from this that's mental enslavement, because what they do, they're using the word of God and they twisting it and they add to it to enslave the people to pay into their net, and that's the work of Satan. And if anybody feel like if any church around the world feel like the church is getting attacked, well, that means Satan working we on to you, and we finna catch up to you, and we finna remove you from these communities because this money we can use to help our own community and build our own community up and feed the homeless. The Bible says we're supposed to feed the homeless, we're supposed to help the homeless, we're supposed to help the fatherless, we're supposed to help the widows. You know what I
Mr. Musa, do you think that because all these higher ups in certain denomination or churches, do you think that is the reason that's contributing to the upkeep of churches not being taken care of? Is because a lot of churches are in these organizations and they're paying all these people out? Do you think that's what's contributing to the a lot of churches that we see not being remodeled or whatever the church need fixed up?
Yes. That plays a major role in it. And then I won't say that's 100%. Some churches are just struggling. Some churches are truly just struggling.
Right.
They don't have the members or
Right.
whatever the case may be. But for the most part, yes, a lot of churches are struggling because they have a budget to pay. They have a budget to pay every month to these higher ups that's in control of the district. And they have to pay this. And they have to stand on the people's back and perpetuate and push this tithing thing in order to pay their budget. And that makes the pastor look good. That makes the deacon getting paid and everything else. And they gonna say, the church, the bills got to get paid at the church, the water, the lights, and all this stuff. But let's be real. Let's go back to the word of God. You know what I mean? If you a Sunday church and you pushing tithing and you doing all this stuff, that building don't need to stand. You want to know why? Because that building ain't pushing salvation. It ain't pushing salvation. It's not teaching y'all about a certain dietary law. It's not teaching y'all about the Sabbath. It's not teaching y'all that God wants y'all to keep his commandments, his laws, statutes, and commandments, and guard your heart with them and do all this. It ain't teaching that. So these buildings, maybe they don't need to stand. Right. And maybe they are under attack because God getting tired of them.
Now you've
been doing this for a long time.
Right. You say you're not attending any church. You didn't get, for the record, you didn't get kicked out of any church, or you just left on your own, or you just read the Bible and you just decided not to go to church on your own, correct?
I grew up in the church. My dad go to church every Sunday, pay his tithe every Sunday. But for years, 30, 40 years, I seen my dad doing this. For years. But God had a calling on my life where, I said, okay, I'm sitting up at church with my dad. I remember me falling asleep in the back in the pew, and then, the usher tapping me on the shoulder. My dad, I look up front, I see my dad frowning his face up. Boy, get up. What you doing? Boy, get up. Wake up in church, And when I got home, I used to get it. He didn't play.
Right.
And he still don't play today.
Right.
But God called on me, and I read that book from page 1 all the way to the end. It took me 3.5 years, 3 years. And I saw, and God shared with me what his vision is for humanity and what he wants for us and what he wants us to do. And God has an ordinance, and God has things, the way he does things, and the ways he do things, because he got certain ways he wants things done. And I learned that by his grace, because I could have still been, that book could have still been on the dresser halfway open up, collecting dust.
Right.
But it ain't like that no more. I read it from front to back. Right. So now I know, and now that I know, I gotta speak up, bro.
Right.
That's just what it is. I know the truth now.
So you don't tithe at all?
No, sir. That's done away with.
Okay.
If I continue to tithe, I'm disrespecting God. God said that's been done away with.
Okay.
That's been gone.
So what would you say to a pastor or any person, religious person, that says that what you're saying on our podcast is not true and you're not understanding the word of the Bible? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, because everybody, like I said earlier, everybody have a different interpretation of the Bible. I can read the Bible. You can read the Bible. Wayne can read the Bible. My mom and dad, we will all agree on most of it, but then it may be a few words sitting there that no, that's not what it said, because I've heard the going back and forth for years and still hear it. Everybody has their own interpretation of the Bible. So this is where it comes in at. So again, what do you have to say to that question now?
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna start it off with the word of God. Revelation chapter 22, verse 18 and 19. That's page 1217. God says, "Whoever add on to my word or take away from my word shall be a curse shall be placed on them from this book." Okay. So that's the foundation. That's the foundation of setting this conversation on, the ending of this conversation, right? So you can't add on to the word or take away from the word.
Right.
Any pastor, y'all can line up any pastor with that foundation set. Any pastor, y'all can come up, we can have a conversation about tithing. As long as you don't add to the word or take away from it, show me in the Bible that tithing still stands. And I can bet my bottom dollar you can't, because you can't beat the word of God.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to say before we let you go, Mr. Musa?
I would like to say, everybody, like I said last time, salvation is free. The most valuable thing in our lives is our souls, and our salvation is free. Right. As human beings, we pay for life, we pay for water, we pay for gas, we pay for the roof over our head, we pay for food, we pay for clothes on our backs, right? Mm-hmm. And even when we leave here, sometimes even when we leave and we dead and gone, the bills still be coming in and we ain't here to pay, right? Uh-huh. But guess what? The most valuable thing is free, and that's salvation.
Right.
All you got to do is obey his word and keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. And he promised you would get another chance at life eternally, and you get to eat from the tree of life. And it's free. The most valuable thing that in our lifetime is free. But as human beings, we got to pay for everything else. That's something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
We appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you for your
always
for your
chime in.
Man.
We enjoy hearing your insight. Everyone said that they enjoyed hearing your insight on church, and as I say again, I'm quite sure a lot of people gonna disagree because some people, like you said last week, like don't want to hear the truth. So and they'll disagree, and they have a right to disagree, but you sound very educated on the Bible. So would you be willing to debate any of them?
I'm willing to debate. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to debate with the word, with using the word of God.
Right.
And guess what? When you can't beat the word of God, don't get mad at me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just a speaker from the word of God. Right. Like I said, Revelation chapter 22, verse 18 and 19. If you could debate with me by staying within them guidelines, not adding to the word and not taking away from it, then we got a show. Until then, don't even bother, because you're going to make yourself look bad. And that's God making you look bad. That's God pulling you out, pulling that sheep clothing off on you and showing that you're a wolf. So it's up to you.
All right. Thanks for calling, man. We appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
All right, brothers. Stay safe.
Thank you.
You too. All right, man, I tell you,
that was deep. He's all Master Musa is always.
He calls in. He calls in every time we go live here. Before we go move, can you guys still see us? Put it in the chat, because
our screen froze on our end.
Froze up on our end, but we can still see ourselves live on. It could just be my computer. Put it in the chat if you can still see us live on Facebook. Just say yes, I can see you. Put yes, you're still live in the chat.
Because I can see us live.
I can still see us live too, but my screen, computer screen, froze up. So before we move on to our next topic, anybody? Okay, Jamie said yes, we're still live. My computer screen froze up here to my left over here, but I can still see us live over here. So, okay, that's good. It's just my computer screen. Okay. So,
we're talking about Sukihana and Sexy Red, and what do they represent to Black society?
We're going to move on from the church. We're going to give one more person, if you want to call in before we move on to the next subject here. If you got any pastor out there that's watching right now, if you want to call in right quick, we'll give you a platform. Otherwise, we're gonna
have your opportunity to call.
Move on to the next subject. And hey, Dolores, yes, okay. Everybody's saying yes, it's all good. It's just my computer screen that's frozen up here because we thought that the live stream went off, but now we see that we are still live. Okay. So again, thank you, Dolores from Savannah, Georgia. She called in, and we thank you for your comments and everything. And looks like we got another caller coming in. So let's take this call. We're still talking about the church for right now. So let's see what this caller is here.
Yes. Did that.
Let's see here. Okay, hello caller, and welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast.
And what's your name and where are you calling
What's
from?
your name? Where you calling from?
And what do you want to talk about?
It's Dealt Reckless.
Dealt Reckless.
Delta Once Reckless. Hey man, what's going on with you?
And same old. How y'all doing?
Good,
We're
man.
doing good.
Man. What you want to talk about?
Well,
And you know, we're talking about Sexy Red, Sukihana, Coach Prime, whatever. Do Sexy Red and Sukihana, do they represent Black society, or are, as some podcasts and some critics have been saying, that they are degenerate to Black society?
well, they don't set us back by 2,000 years, if you ask me.
Why do you say that?
Well, just the actions of women like that, they have no respect for themselves or people outside of them. They have no respect for the younger generation coming up that's watching them. You know, they're just full of ignorance and just stupidity, and they think it's a something that's trending so beautifully in their life.
Right.
And they think because they're making some money, they're successful doing it.
Right.
And that's making like a whole false narrative, for Black coaches,
Right.
especially for the females.
Right.
Because right now we already have a problem in the Black families already.
Right.
With the Black male not being, really part of the family, heading the family, being the leaders of the family.
Right.
Guiding the family. I was like me. I was raised being nurtured from grandmother and mother and stuff like that, doing their roles.
Mm-hmm.
But the granddads and the dads had their roles.
Right.
And in the male's perspective, we were taught by those men to go out and be a part of the labor force.
Right.
Take care of your family.
Right.
Be leaders.
But
it's like this. Go ahead.
Do you think that the music of today, the rap music, has a lot to do with
violence,
the way our kids think, and some of the violence that's going on in our community?
Because we had rap groups before that. We had NWA, we had Luke, and everyone.
Ice
back in the
Cube
day.
and Snoop. We had all of them back in the day that they rapped about this stuff. But still, I mean, today is a different type of music.
Well, see, this the thing. I said it 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
I DJ, I've been DJ a long time. I don't play every song, rap song ever made, I played. And in the 80s rap, it was like the rap music about togetherness, pulling as one. You know what I'm saying? Being a family.
Right.
Black culture, uplifting each other. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Right.
Let me tell you when it changed. Well, Uncle Luke won that lawsuit. The Dances We Want to Be came out.
Right. The album. Mm-hmm.
When the music changed right then. Because now you can use curse words and all the. So we didn't understand then. We was on Luke's side. Saying, man, why they doing Luke like that?
Right.
Man, they need to play our own music. And the other culture ain't want that. Luke won it in court.
Right.
We didn't understand at the time. That was the beginning of disaster. Right then
and he was arrested right in Broward County by Sheriff Nick Navarro at the time. Right down there in Fort Lauderdale.
As nasty as they want to be.
As they want to be, right?
They banned that.
Yep.
But it was protected under the First Amendment. That's First Amendment protected activity there. So the courts ruled in their favor, and they were allowed to play that music again. Right.
And that was the downfall of our culture, music-wise. Everything just went down, started going down. Then NWA came out, even though they made out. So now just put together this right here. Put together Luke's music with the NWA music and blend it together. Right. That's what you got today.
Right.
Straight ratchet.
Yeah.
And the younger generation don't understand the culture of our music, where it came from.
Right.
They hear a song now, they think, oh yeah, we got to do that, and not understanding that the rappers ain't never lived that life.
Right.
Some of them probably been in little gangs, whatever, but they got to fight it.
Right.
But they rap about shooting, all this kind of stuff. They're like, that's dumb. And not realizing they following what the song is saying. In our own community, our own Black community across the country, we got the same problem.
Yeah.
And you know, we had these conversations, me and you had these conversations a lot over the years, Deb. So you're saying that the music is contributing to the behavior of a lot of the kids and probably some of the adults today too.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I DJ, I don't really put a certain song on. I ain't play that certain song because y'all wild out and start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to control the crowd. I'm not playing certain music. Even right now to this day, I'm at an event, I don't even play certain songs because I know it's gonna cause kids to be what the song says to be.
Right.
That's the problem that we have, and they take it to school. They try to live it. They try to act like it. They try to be something that they're not. And the rapper's not what they saying it is either. But the kids are following it. That's why we got so much crime in all our communities.
Right.
Picture this. Let's say in our Black culture, if one of our Black rappers, male or female, made a song talking about the same thing in our culture about another culture, the song will never get played.
I agree.
They'll be banished from the music industry.
Yeah, the record executives.
Yeah. So why are we being allowed to do it to our own people? Because we get bought. We get bought real quick.
Right.
And the thing about it, the little bit of money that the rappers get, they don't last long at all because they spend it all up right quick.
Or they spend it in legal fees, getting out of jail, or getting themselves out of some type of, not even jail, getting themselves out of legal problems.
Right. So see, it's amazing. They'll show all the bad stuff. Probably going to jail, this, that, them drugs. They never show nothing good. That should be like a little light bulb in your head. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the kids, the younger generation, look up to it like it's the thing to do.
Right.
And I say something about it. Oh man, you old man. Y'all in the old music. Old stuff that's mature, understandable, and we was together, and it wasn't no violence in the music.
Right.
Everything is ratchet right now.
Right.
And now, like even in the music industry right now, majority of rappers are female now. How is that?
Yeah,
I feel.
Right. I go ahead, Dad. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I feel like they're leading the young female generation to keep on the foolishness going on. Like for instance, I always talk about this with people. I grew up in a home with my grandmother, grandfather, as leaders, and my mom and dad, two home parents, two house parents. And I learned the different roles, mother's role, father's role. So I knew the role I had to be when I became an adult. I had to be a man, to be a leader, breadwinner, all that kind of stuff there. What I noticed in a lot of generations, probably like 2 generations ago, a lot of I'm speaking of the males right now. A lot of the males caught up in single mom homes when the dad was pushed out, or the mom continues to tell the son, your dad ain't ish, dad wasn't ish, your dad don't blah blah blah. So they'll go like Kurt Franklin situation going on right now.
Right.
Just like that. So the thing is, they grew up mindset being adult, not understanding, and then growing up as a child, like when mama taught the son do something wrong, mama scolded him.
Right.
Don't do this and do that. They grew up as an adult with the same reaction. So when they get a girlfriend or a wife, the wife scolds them the same way. They shut down. There's so many men scared to speak on this subject. They just shut down. They don't want to argue back and forth.
All right. Well, you have to have these conversations, though. Yeah. You have to have these conversations.
This is another uncomfortable conversation in the Black community.
You have to have them. And I was just watching a video, on social media where a person got killed, and for a lot of their he died, or And I saw the kids on that video, the way they were cussing and on the video and saying things. I was like, and to read the comments, I'm like, this is, I mean, where are their fathers at? Because I could tell you if that was my grandson or my son, and I saw them on a video or someone's social media page cussing like that, and be like Bernard and Josephine Adams, Ira Adams, Beulah Moore, George Moore, I would be in a casket dead right now because, man, I'm telling you, that could not be my grandson talking. And I see him on that, he wouldn't be able to sit down. So it does have a lot to do with the music that we're listening to.
And it has to do
today.
with what Del's saying about the parents in the household.
The fathers need to step up and be a part of their child's, their kids' lives and be in the household and help raise their kids. And it's not just the mother's job, it takes two of y'all to make them, but one can't raise them. Both of you need to raise them together,
But the funny thing about it is this right here. It's like being a single mom is just the thing to be. You're supposed to just have a baby daddy or baby daddy. It's like the culture has turned to, you should have a child from man. Y'all ain't gonna be together. You're just gonna be a baby daddy.
Right.
And then y'all go through our life fighting, feuding, and raising the child wrong. Let the child do the thing, and not let the man teach the child. Let the man get the child, spend time with the child. That's why our whole black culture across the country is the same way.
Right.
I've been saying this 25 years, man. Our culture has turned into trash.
Yes, it has, man. Yes, it has.
Because a lot of us men, not all of us, like me, you, we're gonna fight for what's supposed to be done in the man's role.
Right.
But the other type of man that allows things to happen, don't say nothing, and let the kids do anything, and scared to say something to the woman, just feel like the woman gonna come up, argue with them. Man, you got to stand 10 toes down.
Right.
You got to stand 10 toes down.
As I said before, even when dealing with situations like what you're talking about now, and it's just me, this is just my opinion, women can't expect us to be their shield and their target. I mean, you're going to have to pick one of the two, but the men got to stand up and be in the home, even if they aren't in the home. They got to try to build some type of relationship or come to some type of common grounds with their mother and try for the best to try to raise those kids good. And I understand exactly what you're saying, Dale, because we have that problem. It's too many kids, mother and the father, warring at each other, and that's not good. And then, like you said earlier, a lot of men are afraid to speak on this situation, and that's just not it. But I want to play something real. Quick. What I saw the other day, and I want you to listen. This is Sexy Red, and she's talking about one of the most romantic things that ever happened to her. I want the viewing audience to listen to this.
All right.
Most romantic thing somebody did for me, it was my first boyfriend. I was just in high school. He was a little older than me, and it was Valentine's Day. I'll never forget. He robbed somebody and gave me the money and gave me the bill he stole, and it was just so sweet because he was out of breath and stuff. He's like, "Here, I just got this for you." I was like, "Oh, so sweet. Thank you." Because nobody never did nothing like that for me. He stole for me, so I'm like, "Oh, you did that for me, really?" I was like 15. I was 15. Yeah, 15. That was my first boyfriend. And that's the first time somebody ever had got me a gift or tried to do something for me. And I know he didn't have it. So the fact that you still made a way and you did what you had to do, that was nice. And it was only $13, but it was nice. And it was a fake Gucci belt. But
wow.
It was sweet.
Wow.
So she said that the most romantic thing.
He robbed somebody.
Yes. That was the most romantic thing that a man did for her, was to rob someone and give her the proceeds or buy her a Gucci belt or whatever with the proceeds. And this is what is being fed to our kids now. I mean, and to our daughters and to our granddaughters. And I mean, I saw that. I was taken aback by that. And I'm like, this is the most romantic thing that a man ever did for her. No flowers, no serenading her, but was to rob someone else and give her the proceeds. someone need to save us. I don't know who's gonna save us after hearing that. You know.
Listen, let me tell you where this started from. And sometimes people get the wrong interpretation when I say this. Like I said earlier, who was all the matriarchs of every black family? What person is the main matriarch of every black family?
The grandmother.
Even in their death. There you go.
Yeah.
We uphold the grandmothers to the highest esteem. What about granddad?
Yeah. That's why the men need to step up to the plate, man. These men need to step up to the plate and get these fathers back in the homes, man.
Listen, when granddaddy passed away, we're going to see granddaddy. You ain't no videos of granddaddy. No, nothing on Facebook or social media about granddaddy passing away or he's sick, this and that. I miss my grandmama so much. It's like the man has been taken out a long time ago.
Right.
And then every generation is repeated and we're more forgotten because now the man don't even speak up no more. They don't say nothing. Just let stuff happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like people argue, happy life, happy wife. No, dog. No, you gotta speak up. You're a man, you're the leader.
Yeah.
But it's just the way our coach is going now, man. I don't tell people this right here. The way our coach is going and the way these laws, changing the laws and stuff, man, I see everything go back to slavery again.
Right.
Well, I hope it don't go back to slavery because I'm gonna fight. They're gonna have to hang me.
We're gonna have to fight, man.
Listen,
I'm not going back on the plantation.
But see, we won't be here no more.
Right.
The younger generation don't know what the past is.
Right.
You see, the standards that taking the history out of Florida books, right? They can't teach it no more. So how the kids gonna learn what the past was? What we did for voting rights and all that? Just imagine 20 years from now. You're not gonna know what happened in the past.
And that's why you have to get out there and vote, man. You know, your vote, you know, we had people died for our right to vote, and people still keep saying, you know, my one vote it's not gonna make a difference, you know, and this and that. And that's the furthest thing from the truth, man. You need to get out there and vote. If you don't vote, you shouldn't complain about nothing.
Vote
man,
with a purpose. Don't just go in there and vote because someone died for it.
Starts at the polls, man. You know, we got to start at the polls, man, to start changing these things. But hey, man, Del Rec, man, we want to thank you for calling in, man.
For calling in and that thoughtful insight.
Your opinion, man. We appreciate you calling in and supporting the Adams Brothers podcast, man. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it anytime.
Yeah, have a good evening, man. All right, we still have we got the line open. We were just talking to Mr. Deltamus Reckley
from Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Deerfield Beach, Florida, a friend of ours. He called in, share his thoughts. So what we've talked about the church and tithing. We've had some insight on that, and we just bouncing around here. The prime time, Deion Sanders. Everybody is talking about prime time. I don't think many people even knew much about the University of Colorado Buffaloes out there until primetime Deion Sanders went out there. And now everybody runs home to watch Deion Sanders and his son at quarterback play, and they've been winning. And Deion Sanders, he's taken coaching to another level. He has celebrities out there with him. He has The Rock. I've seen The Rock out there. Who else have we seen? He had his mother out there with him.
Kawhi
Leonard, Lil Wayne.
He had T.O. He have had everyone out there, which is good, and that's bringing economic dollars out there to Colorado. So don't no one be fooled by that.
Right.
$18 million was when Stephen A. Smith and all the ESPN people came there, $18 million to that economy.
Poured into that local economy.
And the blacks out there, the black businesses definitely need to get in on out there while that economic windfall is happening.
So what are your thoughts about prime time? Do you want to call in? You want to talk about prime time? We can, or
Coach
prime time. We could talk about that.
And I have some videos I want to play too. So, I want to play some videos of that with Coach Prime. And Coach Prime, Colorado University knew exactly what they were getting when they hired Coach Prime. Everyone saying he's bragging, he's boasting. Coach Prime been like that all his life. He's a proud Black man that's sure of his abilities. So most of the time when those in the dominant society sees a Black man that's sure of himself, that's doing positive things, that Coach Prime has a family atmosphere, that scares a lot of people. It makes them very uncomfortable, and especially when it comes to money. And that is the legit of with Coach Prime. And I want to play a video here. I want to play a video of a guy that called to the actually he called to author, filmmaker Tariq Nasheed's live broadcast. And I just want the people to hear this. I mean, just hear this, what this guy said.
In Indiana. I heard you talking about Deion Sanders, and you were criticizing announcers that said that he's making it all about themselves. Well, I don't think they're criticizing like the media for talking about Deion Sanders. I think they're criticizing Deion Sanders for talking about Deion Sanders so much. No, I'm not kidding. I follow college football. I've never seen a coach who makes it about himself as much as Deion Sanders. And you can say that's a good thing, but it's true. You can't compare that to any white coach. I've never seen it before.
Now, were you? Well, what do you mean he makes it about? Well, he makes it about himself. How? And by the way, were you rooting for Colorado State? Because you sound like a Colorado State fan.
Probably. But I'm curious. Can you name a white coach off the top of your head that you think makes it about himself? Sells sunglasses.
Well, can you name a white coach who they doubt like they doubted Deion? They don't do white coaches like that and second guess them. They don't do that to white coaches. When a white coach comes in, by default, they're like, well, yep, he's the man for the job. But Deion, everything was about second guessing. Can he do it? Will he fail? What is he going to do? Does he have the skills? Does he have the experience? Does he have everything was about doubting Deion. And he was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to come in. I'm going to win. Y'all keep doubting me. I'm going to make you a believer. So he was making it about himself and it as it relates to people doubting him. So yeah, he's going to speak up for himself. You understand?
Why would he be selling his sunglasses? Like, have you ever seen a coach before who sells a merchandise brand completely separate from anything related to the team, makes his own pair of sunglasses and starts selling it to people?
Yes.
He's had that plan.
What's wrong with that? Hell, the college sports for years, they made a grip off those black players, and those black players didn't get a dime. So yes, I want Deion to market everything he can and make every dime he can.
I mean, it's not just that. It's just the whole thing. It's all about, it really is. There's no other program.
I swear, y'all hate to see a competent black person who ain't bowing down, who's winning. Why do y'all hate that so much?
Because it makes us insecure that we can't do it the same way you can.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's a you problem. At least say, I'm glad you're being honest, but that's a you problem.
I know, but when we see a black man shining, it just like tears us down because that's like all we have left is the coach.
I know that, but y'all it's a you problem. There's great things that you can do within your community. There's great things, man. You guys got volleyball. You guys are phenomenal at volleyball. Y'all got that.
Also, we have badminton.
Hockey, all of that stuff, man. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Ever since Tiger Woods changed the game in golf, we've just like been reeling from that. All we have now is curling.
I know. Y'all got wrestling, the wrestling competition. You guys are good at that. There's a lot of good stuff you're very good at. Badminton.
Tariq, you should talk about how white people being so dominant at wrestling is related to like the Greek origins of like homoeroticism.
Oh yeah. You guys were, y'all were getting down with wrestling because what was happening is you pin somebody down and then you crack that pussy open and then they really get stuck. So yeah, you guys got that. That's something we don't want to wrestle with you. So I will give you that. We don't like wrestling with your ass. But other non-contact sports where we ain't got to bend over, we got.
And that was a caller that called in to Tariq Nasheed, filmmaker Tariq Nasheed's live broadcast. I think that was last Sunday morning. So you can kind of see some of the vitriol that is coming at Coach Prime. Also, here's another.
Didn't have
video.
OMTV raps in the locker room before the game, at halftime, after the game. Maybe they'd be in control of this game instead of getting beat like a drum. I mean, it's flat out embarrassing. He's running the fucking OMTV, got Fab Five Freddy, whatever the fuck it is, Flavor Flav. What an embarrassment. This clown talks a good game. He's got fucking OMTV raps in the locker room. He ain't no coach. That's not a football program. That's an MTV house party, MTV raps. It's an embarrassment. It's an abomination, and it's a liability. Don't send your kids there. If you send your kid to Deion Sanders, he's going to come out wearing a hunk of gold chain. He ain't getting a job. He ain't even getting a fucking diploma. He's going to get himself a criminal record hanging out with Deion Sanders and his Fab Five Freddy, MTV rap. Go. Dance.
That's the racism that we're seeing with Coach Prime.
And we didn't have a dump button to dump that.
Well, people need to hear
F-bomb,
it. People need to hear exactly what he's saying in live. I mean, that is what he's saying, and you know, people need to hear it. People need to hear and see the racism that's has been targeted towards Coach Prime, and you know, people want to see him lose. I mean, everybody wants to see. I want to see Coach Prime do good.
Everybody wants to see him do good, and he's doing a good job. I don't think anybody's ever, elevated that university to this level before. Coaching wise, and getting the players to buy into what he's doing there, and obviously they're buying into it because they're winning.
And the athletic director, Rick George there at Colorado, he's a smart man. Believe me, he saw money. He saw opportunity with Coach Prime. And this wasn't no hire that was just made off the bat. Coach Prime has him and his sons, with his sons, when he was coaching his sons, they won, I think, 2 or 3 state championships. Look at where they went to Jackson State, and they were successful there. And look where he's at right now at Colorado. Everywhere Coach Prime has went so far at the high school and at the collegiate level, him and his sons coaching, so far they've been successful. And I hope they continue to be successful. And the question asked is, is the hate that's geared towards him on some of the videos we just heard, is it deeply rooted in racism, or is it just people say Coach Prime has he makes it all about himself? Well, they said the same thing about—
Can't be about himself because they're winning.
They said the same thing about Muhammad Ali 50 years ago. So anytime I think a black man is shown in a positive light and he's sure of himself, this is the type of backlash I think you're gonna see. And not just from those in the dominant society, but also those in our own community, like Jason Whitlock. I mean, Jason Whitlock has been trashing Coach Prime for weeks now, and we all know if you know anything about sports or any sports, you know who Jason Whitlock is. I mean, and he's been trashing him, and you got a lot of other people trashing him, and there's nothing wrong with them having an opinion about Coach Prime, but I think he's been pretty much successful at every level that he's been on, as far as business, sports. He's a Hall of Fame. He brings credibility to that university, and also he's bringing money, which is—
and some of his friends,
people missing that.
Dolores Aaron says Warren Sapp is going to be joining Coach Prime.
Yes, I put the video up.
So
that Warren Sapp said next year he's going to be joining Coach Prime. I mean, who wouldn't want to be? Because like Coach Prime said, he has a coaching tree. I implore anyone to go back and look at I believe it's Shannon Sharp. I forgot the name of his podcast, but go back and look at that interview that Unc. That's what everybody calls Shannon Sharp, Unc. That he had with Coach Prime, and that is a very good interview. I ask everyone to go back and look at that on YouTube, and you'll learn a lot about Coach Prime and from his operation on his foot to where he's at right now, to the struggles he had at Jackson State. I mean, Jackson State, people were upset when he left Jackson State, but they didn't treat Coach Prime right. They was, breaking in the car, broken his car, broken his office at Jackson State. And they didn't paper the man up after all the money that he made for that university. And like I say again, I know a lot of people was upset when he left, but if you bring someone on, you hire someone, you got to pay them good. You just can't just think you can just toss them nickels and dimes and they're going to stay to that university. I mean, I would have loved to see him stayed at historical Black college, but this is going to elevate him. It's going to elevate the people around him. It's going to elevate the coaches. This has wide implications for Coach Prime, and I wish him well. And anybody want to call in and talk about it?
Anybody want to call in and talk about that? Welcome. If not, we'll move on to our next topic. What was the next topic again? I know we talked about the tithing.
I think that was it. That was all the topic. No one called in about the
Sexy Red, Coach Prime Time
in Memphis, Tennessee, with the repass.
The church is under attack. So
yeah,
I think we pretty much covered a lot. If anybody got any final thoughts you want to call in,
are the churches under attack? If anyone want to call in again,
people were chiming in. If you want to call in right now, don't call us when we get off of the air and say, I started to call in. I want to call in. I thought about it.
Call in. Here's your chance right now.
Here's your chance right now. You don't have to tell. You don't have to give your name.
No, call in.
You don't want to. You don't have to give your name. So we're just trying to find solutions and get people's opinions. So far, we've
don't be afraid that when you go to church Sunday that your pastor gonna excommunicate you. This is engaging conversation, and we live in a free society. And as I said on our last broadcast, everyone is not religious, so you can't browbeat someone down because they don't go to church or because they don't believe in what you believe in. We have all types of religion. We have you have Buddhists, you have the Mormons, you have all kind of different religions, and I think people need to respect that more or less. Religious leaders or whoever. I mean, just respect that. Just respect people's opinion to not go to church.
That's all it is an opinion,
and that's not attacking the church, and that's not attack. That's not the church being under attack because some people are not religious, and again, because some people want to go to concerts, football games, basketball games, or whatever they want to go to. That's not attacking the church. People. I'll say this. My grandmother was a very religious person. I remember my granddad died.
Both of them, Ira Adams and Beulah Moore.
But I'm talking about my specific grandmother here, Ira Adams. And when her husband died in 1973, my grandmother, she went to church probably most likely after that for funerals or something like that. Other than that, she didn't really go back, but every week she was praying. Every morning you heard her praying. In the evening you heard her praying. She was always talking about God, and I know she did not go to church probably the last 40 years of her life.
Right.
I know she's in heaven. I know this. I know a lot of people might say they think this person is in heaven, but I know both of my grandmothers are in heaven, and both of my grandfathers are in heaven.
And she didn't go to church every Sunday, but I guarantee she sent her money.
Yeah.
She sent her tithes there. She would put it in an envelope and say, give it to us and say, hey, when you go in there, take this. But she didn't go to church. We didn't have social media back then. You would see who was that back on church back then? Benny Hinn and the black G.E. Patterson.
Pat Robinson, you had all those
Pat
people
Robinson
back in those days.
The Baker guy, the Baker man.
But she didn't watch any of them.
But whatever was on TV, she would watch it, and she would always say, "I've done my time in church," and that was her. That was her own, that was her own way of, serving God, from home, and that's what she did, and nobody couldn't tell her what to do or when and how to do it. She was 90, 91, or 92 when she passed away, and we still remember those fond memories of her, sending her tithes in the church. So again, we come from tithing families.
Call in number 954-480-3209. Call in. Don't pastors call in. If don't say no one attacking the church or anything. This is your chance to call in and talk about anything that we talked about on here today or whatever you want to talk about. Anyone call in. Number again.
We've been on here now for an hour and
480-3209.
Hour and 45 minutes now. So we're gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. So anybody want to call in? The line is open. We'll take another call before we get off. We want to talk about City Manager David Santucci about the affordable housing.
Tyrone Hill,
Tyrone Hills, I saw you earlier, but I couldn't bring you in for some reason. If you're still watching, Tyrone Hills, I know you were. That was a big subject yesterday, and a lot of people wanted to know about affordable housing. If you live here in Florida, where we are, and you know that in the hood, if you want to call it, or the black neighborhood, or whatever you want to call it, the houses are going for $500,000 over here. And is that affordable? No.
Also, a concern also should be about burial spaces. I mean, the cemeteries are almost full. Memorial still there.
The cemetery in District 2 on Southwest 4th Street and Martin Luther King is full. If you don't have a plot out there right now, you can't get one. It's the only place you can get buried that's operated by the city of Deerfield Beach is Memorial Cemetery.
And they're going to get out the cemetery business
and after
at some point.
After that is full, you're going to have to go to Fairway Memorial. That's going to be the cemetery for the future. So I know a lot of people don't like to talk about that, but none of us are, here to stay. We're going to die. That's just what it is. We're going to leave here someday, and everything that we have, our cars, our houses, our boats, our money,
not going to mean anything.
Not going to mean anything. And people that's living, your family members who really don't do anything for you, they're going to be fighting for what you worked all your life for. I always say that
it's your
life should bring people together.
It's your will.
Life should bring people together, but it's the opposite right now. Life should bring you together. Death brings everybody together, and then death brings out the worst in our families. We all know everybody's fighting. This one want the house. This one want the car. This one done wouldn't put their name on the mother's or the father's bank account, and they got all the money, not sharing it with the brothers and sisters. It's just a mess. You know what I'm saying? So
please go get a will.
Go get your own will. Go get your last will and testament. Get it signed and notarized. Give copies to people. Tell them where it's going to be, because you're not going to be here forever. And
we're all going to die.
We're all going to die.
Just remember that.
We're living in the last days. We're here at the Adams Brothers Podcast trying to make it better for everybody.
And we're going to keep informing you.
Respect your opinions, and hopefully you respect ours, because we're just trying to be that mediator in the community here. So
hit our podcast too via Cash App at $ Adams Brothers Podcast.
Again, get together on your terms before death brings you together on its terms, because I always say God has a way of bringing you together. And that's in death. If you don't get together on your own terms while you're here, let's get together and be family and fellowship and have cookouts and all of this stuff that we used to do. Somebody gonna die. You all gonna come together then. And I can guarantee you're gonna come together again then. And then when that funeral is over, everybody gonna go their own separate ways again. Life should bring you together, not just death. So do both, life and death. You know, while you're living, get together with your family. And when you die, when a family member dies, you're all gonna get together and continue to do it in life and death. Want to thank everybody for chiming in tonight. Hopefully you agree. If you disagree, we'll respect your opinions, and I hope you respect ours. We're just
Everyone
trying to
had
bridge,
a chance to
bridge
call
the
in.
gap. Everybody had a chance to call in.
Still can call.
So we're getting ready to wrap it up. We've been on here for 1 hour and 47 minutes almost, and we want to thank everybody for chiming in. Want to thank City Manager David Santucci for coming on our podcast yesterday. And talking and giving us some real good information. Go back and watch the replay, the playback. And there's some very good information in there for you. Go back and watch the playback, okay? Please do. We got some good, interesting stuff coming up in the future. We want to thank our people that call in again. Miss Dolores from Savannah, Georgia. Thank you. All the way up there in Savannah. Say hello to our family up there in Savannah, Georgia, over there for Abercorn and Victory and all of that over there. The Gordon family, Alfred Gordon, Audrey, Michelle, all of that Gordon family up there, all our family, we love you. Up there in Dublin, Georgia, we love you. Savannah, Georgia, Sandersville, Georgia, Soperton, Georgia, up there in New York, cousin Paul Gilbert. Up there in Bridgeport, Connecticut, our cousins, Rose Parker.
This music here was provided by our cousin, John J. Rock Ramsey.
J. Rock Ramsey up there in Detroit, Michigan. We got cousin.
Great music producer.
Cousin Crystal, Michelle, Vernetta. All of our cousins, our sister out in Arlington, Texas. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting us. Hit our cash up, $ Adams Brothers, POD, Adams Brothers Podcast. I'm sorry. $ Adams Brothers Podcast. We're going to be back with some more engaging conversations, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it. We love you.
And we never gone.
We ain't going nowhere. Adams Brothers Podcast family, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and we will be back real soon. God bless you.